morning. We've almost made it through January. I thought, in some ways, that was a appropriate song to sing at the after the events of this past week. Don't mean to say that those things weren't all true a week ago, but that there's a more clear intention maybe for all voices to be lifted up. And I don't know how many of you participated in this, but the proclivity of the Bernie Sanders meme from the inauguration, where Bernie's sitting there with his gloves, mittens, and in his chair all by himself, and people have cut him out and put him in all kinds of different locations. The pastor at Urban Light put Bernie in the front row of their sanctuary this week and used him as a reminder that they're still not doing in-person worship. And it was a reminder that we collectively need things to have fun with, and whether it in any real way was foundationally true. I'm struggling with that a little bit. We didn't feel like we could be lighthearted and laugh in the same way. As the slide says, it's not happy people who are thankful, it's thankful people who are happy. I don't want to necessarily retread the last 4 years and say that we had them so we can be thankful that we don't have them anymore. that's not my intent with this. But we do need to be able to say that, we need to be able to say this phrase, and it's a difficult thing, is that it was the will of God that everything has happened up to this point. And we need to not necessarily say that God commanded each step and everything happened out of an ordination. We live in somewhat of a choose your own adventure book, and there may be things laid out depending on our choices, but they're still available for us, our choices. And we need to be able to understand our choices as real and true, and then deal with them in that way. That whether we recognize that we may have chosen poorly at some point, those still were choices, and that's still reality, and it's still true. We need to be able to see that and be thankful for it, whether it's because it brought great blessing or because we experienced from those choices a lesson to be learned. The scripture from Colossians 3 is more about community than anything else. It's about our relation, our interaction with each other. Starting in verse 9, do not lie to each other. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices. This is about authenticity. The process of becoming that which God has called us to become is a process not of becoming something else, but is becoming something again, being reborn, renewed, and I want to say injuvenated, which is not a word, but rejuvenated. A friend of mine wrote about his second graders this week, how they go through their lives without all of the masking that often is found in adulthood, and just celebrating that sort of innocence and openness and the willingness to look and see and be authentic. Authenticity is not something we have or don't have. It is a practice, a conscious choice of how we want to live. Authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen. And we talked about that some last week, what it means to be seen and fully loved, fully known and fully loved. And authenticity, our ability to step into that identity is a part of how we respond to that sense of being seen and loved. Having gotten rid of the old self, have to put on the new self, which is being renewed in the knowledge, in the image of its creator. I think about this. Um, I think about this in a couple ways. A friend from Richmond said that on the 6th, she was trying to explain to her children what was going on in the state capitol, in the U.S. Capitol. And her daughter said, "Oh, it's just like when we're in school and we have to do active shooter drills." Now, oftentimes we are worried about what we can tell our children. I mean, there are levels of things that they don't need to know quite yet, but then there's a real sense that we need to be honest with them. And our honesty communicates how we feel about them. We talk about death and loss and grief with our children because we communicate to them that they can handle these things. Then I was thinking about this in terms of what that unmasking, that right here, that old self with its practices, telling lies to protect someone you love only destroys them in the end. Is that oftentimes it is us we are telling the lies to, and it is our our authenticity that we are destroying in the end. Caught a clip of Return of the Jedi last night, and Luke was pleading with Ben, "Why did you tell me that Vader had killed my father?" He had found out that Darth Vader was his father. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi, explained to Luke that in fact Vader had killed his father. He had told lies to avoid pain, and ended up destroying Anakin Skywalker. The story is a story of redemption, and Luke brings back Anakin in the last moments of the movie. Somewhat of a salvation by son. I'm gonna get back. So, which is being renewed in the knowledge and the image of its creator. Here, in that image, there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. Lift every voice and sing, because Christ is all and is in all. Sometimes we struggle with that. The slide says all in. We struggle with the idea that our experience is not the only experience. That our story may be exceptional. And that it isn't the story that's important. The path, the narrative, the journey. But it is the Christ, the truth, integrity, love, hope, and joy that is in all. That's important. Olivia was asking yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I was talking about what it means to be a colorblind racist. And the idea is that in this point in time, to say I don't see color is ridiculous, is harmful. It's harmful for everyone involved, because the reality is that color is exists. It is there. That the experience of somebody in my color is different than the experience of someone with a darker hue. And so we must actually see the color and how life is experienced from that perspective. And Olivia was complaining or questioning on our road in. You can see gray squirrels and red squirrels and black squirrels, and the kids would go, "Hey, look, there's a black squirrel," and I'd say, "I just see a squirrel. I don't see color." And she was asking questions along that line, and they did it to point out the audacity or the silliness or the incredulity, that it's ridiculous to say I don't see the color of that squirrel, when in fact we all see the color. Yes, we are all created equal, but we do not perceive inequality, and that we do not perceive equality, and that's the problem. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. One of my favorite statements that Paul makes about humanity. Paul has not invited yet in the book of Colossians a sinner's prayer. He has not converted anyone. He says to the people of Colossae, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved. This is who you are. This is what you do with that understanding. Clothe yourself with compassion and humility and kindness and gentleness and patience. There aren't necessarily clothes that show everyone. I was thinking that there are definitely clothes that show the opposite. We saw those clothes on display on January 6th. Not all the clothes, of course. We definitely saw them. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. There have been many words said on the topic of forgiveness. Forgive as was forgiven to you. Forgiveness holds the keys to the prisons that we create for ourselves. And over all of these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. that as you look, may you find love and compassion and tenderness. The truth of love is the truth of the universe. It is the lamp of the soul that reveals the secrets of darkness. This one's reflexive a bit, isn't it? That our ability to love our neighbor is reflective of our ability to see ourselves in the way and to accept the love that Jesus has demonstrated for us upon the cross. That as we are able to see and accept the love God has for us, so we are then able to love our neighbor. And so the truth of love is the truth of the universe. It is the lamp of the soul that reveals the secrets of darkness. And that as I am able to love and care, you will know how well I'm doing in my relationship with God. Well, crap. But it's true. We put it out there on display for all to see. And everyone doesn't take the time to see all the time. But it is there. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to be peace. We were called to peace and to be thankful. This is a little where we get into the lessons of the last 4 years, and it's not just lessons of the last 4 years. Make no mistake that this is lessons from a history. This slide says, I'm thankful for my struggle because without it I wouldn't have stumbled across my strength. If we don't struggle, we don't know our strength. If we don't struggle, we don't grow strong. I wish I didn't need to be strong. That I wish we didn't have to go through so much, but it seems that we do. And maybe they are one and the same. That we struggle because we need to, that our lack of strength causes our struggle. However, those walk hand in hand. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts. Present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all the moments. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God through the Father, to God the Father through him. Give thanks for each new morning with its light, for rest and shelter of the night, for health and food, for love and friends, for everything thy goodness sends.
Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. I am found, I am
may we remember the reality of where we're at, where we've been. We have a list of grievances. Things, ways, stuff didn't happen the way we had planned. The biggest waste of money in 2019 was a 2020 planner. May we look at it, examine it, and learn to be thankful so that we can be free